Actually, the way we got started in this project was in January of 2018. Eighth grade boy down in Sierra Vista took his own life on the school grounds. And about 2 weeks later, another eighth grade boy in a neighboring community took his life as well. So I was asked to go down and help work with the teachers that had been impacted by these deaths using our resiliency curriculum. So I went down and taught them 3 of the 5 skills, and afterwards I was approached by one of the teachers who said, I have a class of 8th grade boys, 10 of them, and I'm wondering if there's a way that we could teach these resiliency skills to them. It turns out that about a year before, we'd been working on Raspberry Pi, which is a computer, as a metaphor for building a social support system.
One of the things we want to do is to develop a social support system. It's one of the most protective elements when we're dealing with stress and suicide. And we are talking about a system here, so we want to find a parallel. We want to look at a technology parallel. And the technology we're going to be looking at is a device called the Raspberry Pi. It's this really neat little $35 computer that allows us to build a system. And the way we build a system is we add things like a keyboard and a mouse and a power supply. And each one of those elements has a role to play in making this computer work. And just like a social support system, these pieces come together to form a system that works.
So we went down and in 2-hour blocks, the first block we taught the resiliency skills, 3 of the 5, and then they went home for a week and they practiced those, and we came back the next week and talked to them about how they'd integrated those skills into their lives. And one of the really cool things that we saw is they in fact had gone home, thought about it, and began to practice the skills.
We have this tremendous metaphor insofar as looking at our social support system through a technology perspective. But we're going to take it a step further, and we're going to incorporate it into a STEM piece, a science, technology, and engineering mathematics piece, because we want to optimize the teacher's time as well as the students.
We spent 2 hours working with them to build a computer. In fact, they were able to also set up their own unique little social support system.
We're going to examine the Internet of Things. In particular, we're going to focus on sending a message within our social support system that I'm thinking about you.
What we found afterwards was that we tested them pre and post, they actually showed increases in their self-efficacy scores, or their belief in themselves. So they'd integrated it, they'd actually increased some of their test scores. The other thing we really learned out of this is that this is a good model for science teachers to teach these positive coping skills in a science class.
As we put this together, we will build a system that sends this message to our social support system. I'm thinking about you. And we've got to get these different elements, these different nodes to talk together. And the way we do this is we get them to create a dialogue. And this dialogue is comparable to the kinds of dialogues that we need to develop within our social support system because it's difficult to maintain and sustain that. And when we're done with the programming, we get to send this really cool message, I'm thinking about you. And it goes to everyone in the class because we're all building this concurrently at the same time. We've become a community of one.